Oh, well, hey, babe. It's Jamie. That's me here. Welcome back to my channel, honey. Listen, let's go ahead and get into another episode for reunion part 2 of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. Let's talk about this. All right, y'all. Listen, girl. Am I the only person that's feeling like they could have wrapped this reunion up in 2 parts? I really feel away because I felt like y'all stretched this out to 4 parts so y'all can make sure y'all girls continue to get a little extra money or something. Like, I don't know, right? I'm just like, ugh. Like, it was cringy. Like, we spent about how many minutes? 5 to 10 minutes talking about Kyle and my girl, Kathy, reconnecting, being sisters, their mom passing away. I believe she passed away, back in 2002? Maybe I'm wrong. But talking about them reconnecting and how they fell out and stuff. And I'm just like, I get it, but I really don't. I get it, but I really don't, girl. Can we, come on, y'all. Let's get to something else. Like, let's talk about some things, okay? So, like I said, Kathy and Kyle talked about them being sisters and how it's taken them time to come back together and how she's enjoyed Miss Kathy being a part of the show. I'll be honest and say I've enjoyed Kathy being a part of the show, too. This is my girl until she ain't my girl no more, okay? That's definitely my girl. Kathy is funny, so I thought she was a pretty good addition, honey. And I ain't even seen the previous seasons to know if she was a good addition, but I know I enjoyed her on this season. Okay, let's talk about Crystal because we get to Crystal's segment. And she was asked about Sutton walking into her room. Y'all know Sutton bust into her room like, oh, girl, I don't know what you're doing, but I'm going to go ahead and just give you your jacket. Mind you, Sutton and Crystal had 2 different other instances where they weren't actually cool or whatever, right? The racial situation. And when they sat down on the sofa and I guess she nudged or said something to Sutton and Sutton didn't like it, but then you felt comfortable enough to take this woman, her jacket, and then tip-tap and then come into her room. No, ma'am. You didn't even wait for her to say enter. You just walk into people's rooms. No, ma'am. Right? So Andy asked her a question, I believe, from one of the viewers about their thoughts, like after her sitting back and actually being able to watch the show, externally, then what are your thoughts about it? Do you still feel the same way that you felt from the beginning? And I liked how Crystal did say, minimizing the incident to just a little slight knock on the door does not explain how I felt in that moment, okay? It's like y'all try to take it away from how she's feeling to make it about, oh, it's just a little knock. It's just a little, no. Okay, it could just be a little knock, okay? But she's gonna feel away. That's like somebody just tapping your car. It's just a little tap. You still gonna feel away, right? Girl, don't you tap my mother car. What was that about? Okay, you still probably gonna feel away depending on what that little tap do. So it's like, don't try and focus on the little tap when she felt the way about it. You don't make a decision on how she felt. She made the decision on how she felt and she felt violated. So that's that on that. Okay. She says that it was things that was happening outside of just that knock. And it was the incidences that I mentioned. She said it happened over the course of the 2 days, especially with the racial situation. So that was primarily an issue for Miss Crystal when it came to Sutton, right? Then she tried to be a little okay with her and then things kind of continue to go left. So I definitely felt how I understood where Miss Crystal was coming from, okay? Sutton tells her that the words violate. When she used that word or that term or whatever, it made her feel away. Right. And that's the thing. Like, she still kind of feels a way about that word. And Crystal's like, girl, and I still stand by what the hell I said. I felt violated, and I'm not going to change that or switch that up for nobody so that you can feel comfortable when it was about how I felt. And I loved how she said that she didn't like how people were trying to police her feelings. And I am with her on that. Like, don't try and police my feelings. And I saw a tweet on Twitter talking about how it's funny, like, let me keep going about the racial, okay? She was asked about the racial conversation, and Sutton actually ended up apologizing, right? So when it came down to the whole racial thing, Sutton took to social media and she apologized. Now, I saw on Twitter what people were talking about. It was like a tweet. I can't fully remember it, but it said something like, how can Crystal be up here crying about, I guess the racism that she gets, but she doesn't understand Garcelle's point or where Garcelle comes from with things. And I was like, I agree with that. Like, girl, if Garcelle is feeling like she's outside of the group or she's feeling a certain way when it comes to the lady, she's feeling some type of racial undertones, then girl, you got to be able to understand where she's coming from, right? Okay, because it just happened with you on this show. But also outside of that, also understand this, y'all. I understand if Crystal didn't open her damn mouth when it came down to Garcelle and whatever her issues were with the ladies, because mind y'all, Garcelle was one of those people at the beginning of the episode that was policing how Crystal was feeling, policing how this lady was feeling and telling her that violate, that's a strong word. Not, like, no, you don't want to say that. And then so she was overly going to bat for her good girl Sutton instead of falling back and shutting the hell up like she's done in other situations, like when she sat up there with Kathy, Erika, and Crystal when they was talking about Sutton and she ain't opened her damn mouth. So she could have did the same thing at that time at the table when Crystal was being, you know, asked about the term violate and all this other stuff and whatever else. Girl, you could have been quiet too, just like you was any other time. So she must have learned her lesson by the time we got to that scene of all of them sitting down at the table and they started dragging Sutton. So that's that on that. So I understand where y'all coming from. So if Crystal doesn't understand where Garcelle's coming from, it's messed up because you had a whole situation on the show. But at the same time, Garcelle wasn't speaking up for Crystal either. Garcelle was more so on some she was more on some girl, the terms that you're using, they're a bit strong and da-da-da-da and whoop-de-whoop-de-whoop. So that's that on that, girl. I guess y'all leave y'all thoughts and comments down below. Okay, so Crystal begins to cry, right? She started getting a little emotional, and I think this could have been about her dad, right? Because her dad had experienced racism or whatnot at a time, but he didn't really talk about it. She saw the way he was so frightened. She saw his facial expressions. But during that time when she witnessed everything, but her dad wouldn't like go further into detail about it because how she was raised was when you move to a new country, you just follow the rules, you be quiet, you don't say anything, you just, you know what I'm saying, just go about your business or whatever. Like basically be okay with being mistreated and you just may get far in the world. So she started to cry. And I just thought it was interesting that Andy sitting up here seeing this lady cry. I think it was Elisa had the motion to him to get her a napkin that's sitting next to him, a Kleenex next to him. And then the damn Kleenex, the piece of Kleenex, didn't pass through Andy, through Erika, the hands of Lisa, Dorit, and then down to her. For some reason, that made me cringe. I felt some kind of way about it. I'm like, why y'all don't have no Kleenex near these ladies? Why don't they have any Kleenex already near them? You know these reunions can go either way. So I'm sitting up here looking at this like, girl, not the tissue. Okay, not y'all playing hot potato with the tissue going around. Oh, girl, I felt the way about it, honey. But anyway. Okay, girl, let's go ahead and move on. Crystal says that she still gets hate being an Asian. She says at the time of this reunion, she says, yeah, I'm still getting hate, you know. It's happening right now. I'm still getting hate. Yes, it's happening, you know, it's continuing. And they was like, it's happening right now. She was like, yes, at this very moment, it's continuing to happen. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, girl. The most hated people in this country are Black people, especially people of darker hue, girl. Let's be very clear. So for me, I'm just gonna speak for myself. I don't know if this is happening. She's saying that it's happening, so obviously it is. But for me, I'm having a hard time fully believing this. I'm not gonna lie to you, girl. I'm just like, girl, you can't be getting more hatred than the Black folks out here. Girl, you can't be getting that much hate comments. Then I'm sure Miss Ebony K. Williams been getting over there in her DMs and her comment section and stuff, girl, and probably Garcelle as well, girl. I'm sure. But okay then, girl, let's move on. So we get to Miss Erika. So they're starting to ask her questions, right? She allowed the ladies to kind of ask. So Garcelle was the first person to inquire. She says, Garcelle asked why she didn't understand why they did not want to be grouped in with her drama. Right? Erika says that because y'all have nothing to do with it. Like, of course, they were going to group you guys in as far as the articles and things are concerned. But outside of that, y'all know y'all ain't have nothing to do with nothing. So y'all already know the truth. Right? But I feel like if the shoe was on the other foot, you would probably say the same thing, whether it was just going to be articles or whatever. They may try and dig into their funds and see what they got going on to it, try and air them out about some stuff. Girl, ain't no telling. Right? But she just felt like the lady should have known the truth. Okay, you should have known better. Sutton says that she was upset because she wasn't getting no info from Miss Erika. So she didn't really know what was coming out, what was coming her way. She felt as though Erika was getting like a heads up on things, right? Even though Erika denies and says that she wasn't getting heads up on articles and stuff. And I feel like, girl, you did. You was. Or I feel like you was getting heads up on what was going to come down the pipeline, girl. I feel like you did know, but I guess maybe you didn't know all of them, but I feel like you knew some of them. And it seems like, so Sutton goes on to say that like you had an opportunity to tell us more or to clear up some things or whatever, but what you chose to do was to run out, right? You ran out because basically you couldn't take the heat in the house, so you had to go ahead and get on. And then she said, no, I really left because I didn't like the disagreement that I had with Garcelle. And I'm like, girl, you wasn't prepared or ready to answer these questions that was gonna fire your ass up. That's why you decided to go ahead and run and get out that kitchen. So I'm with Miss Sutton on that, girl. So there's that. Okay, Erika opens up, which was weird, talking about her husband. She talks about how he was a loving husband and she thought that he was great. And then the next thing you know, she's learning that he's defrauding people. I said, Erika, which one is it, dear? Which one is it going to be? Is he going to be a loving and a great husband, or is he going to be a controlling, manipulative husband? Which one is it? See, you confuse the people and then you wonder why people ask you why you're not upset with him or anything, or why you're not giving him more of the backlash. Like, I'm just so confused. I'm just like, was it just me? You know, because Tom was loving. He was a loving husband. He was great. The next thing you know, that I'm finding out he's defrauding people. How do you think I'm supposed to feel? How do you think I'm supposed to feel? And I'm just like, Erika, you make no sense. You make no sense at all. But y'all leave y'all thoughts down on Miss Erika, because I'm just like, girl, you damn near confused yourself, honey. Sutton is telling Erika that because when Andy was talking to Erika about her, I guess, acting like she's a victim or something like that. Or first of all, not acknowledging the victims. And then saying that she's coming off, because she wouldn't really call them victims. So the way that she was coming off was as though she was the one that was a victim more than the victims were a victim. She said, I'm nobody's victim. And then Sutton said, well, you are somebody's victim. And she said, no, I'm not. But I can show emotion. I can show this. I can show that. And I'm like, Erika, you so on the defense right now that I don't think you see that Sutton was trying to throw you a bone, in my opinion, right? It looked like Sutton was trying to tell her all the negative things you said about him. He was controlling your finances. He acted like this. He was manipulating. He was cheating. All this shit that you said about him, then that would make you a victim to his antics. But you over here trying, like, girl, you just be confusing the people. But he's a loving husband and he's great. You know they not paying the rent. Like, that's all I hear when I see stupid stuff. I just sit back like Cardi B when she was talking to Peter. I'm just like, you know they not paying the rent, meaning, you know you dumb as hell. You know they don't make no sense. Like, I can't. Anyway, so let's move on. Erika says that she's surprised at the ladies on the sofa. She's not surprised by the viewers of the show, but she's surprised at the ladies on the sofa and how they would assume that how they would think that she would withhold information from them. And I'm like, Erika, girl, that's because that's all you've been doing this whole season from what we learning. Okay, 1 minute you talk about he great and stuff. Next thing you know, we finding out he cheating. 1 minute you telling Garcelle, oh, there were no other women. Then we find out that he cheating. 1 minute you talking about he had an accident years ago, but then you coming out talking about how he had to have surgery on his ankle or whatever. Then he done rolled down the hill. Okay. Then this right here that happened. My son he done got robbed by some people, went over there. He attacked the gunman, had to go to get eye surgery or whatever. My son's car flipped this many times. Like, girl, you do this. You withhold information from them, and then you give them information they don't even be asking you for, which don't even be making no sense. And then you feel a way that they sit on the sofa and they look at you sideways and they questioning you. The only person that's truly been up your arse this entire season has been Miss Lisa Rinna. Okay? Has been Miss Lisa Rinna and a little bit of you, Miss Crystal. But she got you together, Miss Crystal, huh? So let's move on. Erika says that she wasn't aware of any fraud because she wasn't working there. So she started talking about Tom Girardi and, whether or not she was aware of any of the fraud that was taking place. And this is so funny with how Andy asks the questions, because he'll ask her something, she'll answer it one way, and then it's kind of like he'll ask her a similar question, and then she kind of answers that. And I'm like, y'all attorneys better not put this woman on this stand. If she has to get on any stand, girl, y'all better rehearse with this lady 24/8. Because she's going to fuck herself up. All right. So she says that she wasn't aware of any fraud because she wasn't working there. And she also goes on at a later time talking about how she didn't know they was really having money issues, but she slips up and says that, but if you saw how much money we were making, the firm was making. I'm like, we was making, then it was the firm was making. You sure you wasn't working over there at his law firm? You sure you wasn't doing any work over there? Okay, talking about how they had a whole lot of money, honey. Girl, you knew something was going on. You knew something was going on. But anyway, you may not have known everything, but you knew a little bit of something. Okay, let's move on. What else? Crystal asked her, where is her anger for Tom? And I feel like she doesn't really show that, or either she goes in and out of that because she sounds like like I just told y'all, you know, it's like 1 minute he's this great person, but then the next minute he cheated on you and he did this and he did that. And I told Tom I had to leave and da-da-da. She just doesn't make any sense to me, but okay. So Erika says that I am angry. Like, basically, can't you see it? Can't you see that I'm angry? Like, I'm angry right now. I am angry. And I'm like, no, you're not angry at Tom, Erika. You're angry at being questioned and not being believed and feeling as though you're a liar, okay? And giving us untruths. That's why you're angry in this moment. But you're not angry with Tom. You're angry at how people are viewing you and the fact that you got to sit up here and defend yourself. Okay, so that's what you're really angry at. So let's talk about that. But all in all, you know, we pushed past this hour-long episode of absolutely nothing. Okay, wasting the people's time, dear. All right, but y'all go ahead and hop down in the comments. Let me know how you felt about the latest reunion. What was it? Reunion part 3 of Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, honey. That's all I got. I'm Jamie. That's me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share my videos. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter. And I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.